BYU is a 10-point favorite at BetMGM, over under 61. One of the things that I've been trying to monitor here is the wind. Because I think if there's heavy winds, it would significantly favor Coastal Carolina because it would hurt BYU's passing attack a little more. But it looks like they're going to die down around 5 or 6, and it's like to 5-10 miles an hour, which is meaningless. But earlier in the day, it's like 15 to 20 miles an hour, 30 to 40 mile an hour wind gusts, which you always want to check too, because it's not just about the wind, it's about the gusts, as we always talk about. So it's not out of the realm of possibilities that the forecast as of now could be 3-4 hours off, but the game time of 5:30 Eastern doesn't look like as of now that'll be an issue. Break this this game down for us.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I know the wind was a factor. I was taking notes on this earlier, wrote the piece this morning, and I can't deny what Coastal's done this year. They've been fantastic in third downs on both sides of the ball. They are the best in the nation on offense and average distance to go on third down at 5.5 yards. And then defensively, they're like, within the top 10 as far as average distance to go from their defense. BYU's defense averages around 7.1 yards to go on defense. So a huge aspect of this game is Grayson McCall and how they do on first and second down and where their positioning is on third down, because Coastal has been magical. So it's a huge handicap there. I think Coastal is going to find a little bit of success in the passing game on BYU. But they're a run first team. So when you mentioned all the wind and everything, I went and looked at the run ratios here, and Coastal on offensive perspective, they run 64% of the time. And so, I mean, they really leave the passing in passing downs. Does that change, what BYU, who they're fourth in defensive rushing success rate? I mean, BYU is a stout defense against the run. So does Coastal go against their 64% run ratio and decide to lean on Grayson McCall in first and second down? Definitely something to watch for. I'm not sure the other side of the ball. I'm not sure Coastal's defense can stop BYU, especially on the ground. Coastal had major issues defending the rush and posting a positive success rate in standard downs against Louisiana and App State. They beat Louisiana by 3, and App State was covering the entire time. We all know what happened with the pick 6 there. Louisiana carried the ball for 30 times and averaged 7.9 yards on the ground. App State posted a success rate of 60% in standard downs. So what that means, what that translates to, is BYU, who's 9th in the country in rushing success rate, runs the ball on first and second down, you may get some explosive plays, and that's Tyler Algier. I mean, I've seen him bust 80-yard runs up and down against everybody. Coastal is 93rd in defensive rushing explosiveness, and I've talked about this over and over. Just wait until a team that can bust huge runs gets a hold of Coastal's defense. I love the Black Swarm defense. They've got it, everywhere else that Coastal needs it, when it comes to pass coverage, when it comes to sack rate, when it comes to defending pass explosiveness. Coastal's 15th in the country. But in this one, it's about the ground attack. And that's where I think Coastal's defense is going to have a lot of problems. Zach Wilson, he's posting Heisman numbers. I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's done. He's right there with Kyle Trask and Mac Jones when it comes to pressure attempts, when it comes to play action passing. He's got a better NFL rating than these guys. Coastal gets pressure on quarterbacks with the Black Swarm D, like I said. So I think Zach Wilson's going to have a normal day. I think it's going to be all BYU on the ground for explosive plays. Trust me, you're making this trip. Your equipment manager's driving 33 hours in the truck to bring all this stuff there. BYU is coming with an agenda and a chip on their shoulder. And let's not forget, there's a major special teams advantage here. BYU is 7th in the country. I think this is all BYU. Now, the market right now, as you and I are recording, not sure what's going to happen on Friday. It's a game that I make 9.5, 10 everywhere, 10 at BetMGM. And it's a number that's seen a little bit of difference at some other places. I think this is a place where people are going to stare at Coastal. And I've said this week after week. The Sharps love Coastal. The public loves Coastal. Everybody loves Coastal. I think people are going to see Coastal double digits and take a little piece of that. And I'm going to sit back and look for a play in on the Cougars. If I can get 9.5, I can get 9.5. But I want BYU here. I mean, the ground game is going to destroy the Black Swarm defense. At least they should. And they're not coming out there just for as a day trip, just for a vacation, play some golf. They're coming out there with a purpose.
I'm going to say that for the Triple C Dynasty people out there, I'm just lower on the market than on BYU than everyone else, I think. And I made this 6 with wind, thinking there's going to be wind, so I had to adjust this to like 7. And I've been burned by BYU a couple times, so maybe I'm just wrong. I think I might be coming in here on the Triple C Dynasty in the chance. We will have a write-up for this game. What do you think that – like, do you think that there's any advantage to Coastal Carolina playing at home, not having to travel, with this game not being, scheduled for a full week or anything? Is there anything there?
Yeah, but is it negated by the fact that there's been a game plan in for Malik Willis, right? They've been working on zone read. They've been working on what Liberty does, which the Hugh Freeze playbook versus a Jeff Grimes offensive coordinator for BYU, these are not two of the same playbooks. So whatever, we have on the surf and turf field, whatever advantages we have from being at home, which I think it's great that they don't have to travel. Usually Coastal Carolina, the Sun Belt team, is the team that has to go everywhere. But at the same time, BYU, they travel well, and they always have. And it's a professional road trip every time they go somewhere. I think there is an advantage for Coastal to be home, but at the same time, they've been preparing for a completely different offense.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing, look, Zach Wilson has been great. And you can just even he's playing bad competition, but just look at his numbers, watch him, just pass the eye test. I mean, he's a pro potential for days. The reason he's going to be a first rounder. But the biggest improvement to me, besides his play, has been the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line last year was a liability, and now it's been really strong. And that ultimately could be the difference.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the total now, as we're watching this, is starting to tick up, tick down a little bit in the 60s. I think once the word of the wind, maybe it dies down. But it's interesting to note that I think if BYU is going to win this game, and they may know this, is that they're going to have to run the ball. And, Coastal already runs the ball 64%. Now, I do project this game to be at 65. But it's worth noting both these teams are top 30 in defensive finishing drives. So it should be interesting. And if there's wind involved whatsoever, we don't know how that's going to deal with the kicking game. But, Coastal's 118th in seconds per play. They're not fast. They're just extremely successful on third down on both sides of the ball. BYU's 92nd in Temple. There's not going to be any racing up to the line of scrimmage here. So I think the total is set just about right. Should be interesting to see if there's any reaction to the wind or what happens here with the total.
And by the way, light up the voicemail, Triple C Dynasty. We don't really get many BYU callers.
No.
Well, I mean, maybe because a lot of our callers are calling it a little intoxicated, and there's not much drinking going on in Salt Lake City. So I think that from a drunk perspective, drunk fan ratio perspective, BYU is probably on the lower end. So we don't have as many opportunities to get the calls from BYU fans. But I know you're out there. I interact with some of you on Twitter. Give us a call after this game. I know the Triple C Dynasty peeps will be calling in from Canada and the U.S. all over the place. They're well.
You and I are friends with some of the alum, and you can't piss them off, right? We can't get them to call in and give us an earful. So we'll see.
Yep.